Is there a number at which
I can be bought?
not be bought?
That's what it's about.
You can take a pause for a couple of years.
No.
And then go right back to what you're doing.
No. 10 million, 20 million, 30, no. A billion, no. This is not about money. This is about our country. I think it's disturbing that they would even, that anybody would think this is...
No, to be fair, even me, I'll say this. I want a fresh face right now for the reason that I've never seen anyone, I can't think of a single person in a federal race who's lost, ran in and won. I can't think of it. If you can think of it, let me know.
I am not going to let these people who hate our country tell me not to run. You should call them and tell them to get behind me. So what's going on? I'm assuming this is our friend.
This is back east. There are very powerful people who want to keep you out.
Oh no, they do.
But they're willing to put their money where their mouth is in a big way. So, this conversation never happened.
This is crazy though. They should want me. I'm a great candidate. People love me. These people are corrupt.
Well, maybe you're right.
They are right. They are corrupt.
Maybe. This never happened. Don't go. Do me a favor though. I don't get myself in trouble. This, if you say no, which is fine, it's your choice. Don't tell people. I know.
They're gonna try to have me murdered.
Not either. Today's world, man. If that stuff that came out last week is right about the cartel stuff, man. They said the cartel's operating in 50 states right now, like all 50. You know? So
what's going on? Who is it? What?
Forget the who. Let me just tell you the what. Let's just say there are people calling around saying, gosh, no, they can't repeat this. Never repeat this. If you say no, don't, because I got offered to buy out. Don't use it. Because then we lose our ability to get things done in the future.
Here's my problem. Rather than just say, let's work with her, she's a great candidate. Because they don't own me. And it pisses me off.
Yeah, it's not about ownership.
It's about control.
I don't know if it's about control. It's about being on the team. I guess that's, you know what I mean?
They want to be on the team.
They want you to be on their team.
But
just team. You know?
But if they're pushing a globalist agenda, I can't do that. So what do they want? What do they want me to do?
They want you to stay out for 2 years. But, I'll tell you what I can offer you. But, I said you can do whatever she wants, talking head, this and that. So, the ask of me was, it's kind of funny. So the ask I got today from back east was, is between us. Is there any companies out there or something that could just put her on the payroll and give her, to keep her out? And I said, well, what are you willing to do? Like, whatever we need to do.
This is about defeating Trump. And I think that's a bad thing for our country. DeSantis is not America first. This is about the final death blow to Trump. And I don't think that's good for our country.
And you know I love Trump. I love Trump.
It's not good for our country, Jeff.
It's not. But at the same time, I'm not even sure Trump's going to get. I don't know that he's going to get. I think what it really comes down to for a lot of people, it's not really about like control or agenda. It's just about the ability to raise money to win. You know, if you really want to know, all of politics boils down to money. I think. That's what it does. And even on their end, like what makes them the most money?
I know. All these consultants don't want their payday to end. And I don't want to make a deal with these kind of people. This is a hill worth dying on. I'm not. If they're going to steal the election to make me and our movement go away, I'm not letting them do that. I owe it to the people of Arizona.
Or
to carry their torch and their voice.
Or you don't go away, but you pause.
This is the battles right now, Jeff.
You pause, and then you fill your coffers.
No, the battle is right now. The battle is right now, and we don't have time to pause on this battlefield.
You're not. You can't scratch their back. It's not afraid of you.
Yeah.
You don't have anything to offer them. And they're sitting around people that have stuff to offer them. You know what I mean? It's a back scratching club. That's all DC is. It's a big back scratching club. You're in no position to scratch anybody's back, and you've already made it known that if you get there, you're not going to scratch anybody's back. I don't scratch people's back. You know, I've been on the outs with a lot of people for a long time because I don't scratch backs. You know, where are we in 2 years if they steal the election again?
Listen to what you're saying. Why don't we do something about it so that we the people can pick our...
What can we do?
I'm not willing to accept that. And I'm going to be the biggest pain in these people's... Go back and tell them that. I'm running, and I'm going to be the biggest pain in their...
I'm willing to tell them that.
And they're going to have to kill me to stop me.
No, I know. Look. And
you don't have to tell
Did you record that yourself? What can you tell our audience that just heard that clip of someone conveying an offer, it sounds like, to you to be paid not to run for Senate from Arizona?
Well, there's a longer version. It's between 10 and 11 minutes, the full version that is out, and I really recommend people go and listen to that. It's shocking. I was literally dumbfounded when that happened. I thought I was in an episode of House of Cards. And that is the now former chair of the AZ GOP, Jeff DeWitt, who was chairman of the Arizona Republican Party. He resigned yesterday, thankfully. This kind of unethical behavior that we have to root out of all of politics and government. We have to get this out. I don't care if the corruption's Democrat corruption, Republican corruption. We the people demand a change. We're at wit's end right now. So this was a conversation. Yes, I did record that. Jeff had called me. This was 11 months ago, by the way. And, you know, you guys might just be learning about it, but shortly after this conversation happened, I got on a plane and headed to CPAC in Washington, D.C., where I was going to be delivering a keynote speech. And it was just gnawing at me that happened. And the whole plane ride there, I just thought, I have to tell somebody about this. So I changed my speech, and during my speech, I laid out exactly what happened. And I've been talking about this for 11 months now. The mainstream media has never asked me once about it. I laid that whole thing out. For 11 months, I talk about it in speeches, when I go to small groups, big groups, and no mainstream media reporter ever called and said, tell me more about that. Who is behind it? What's going on? And so this was released this week. I recorded it because Jeff had called me about, a few minutes earlier and said, what are you doing? I'm in your neighborhood. I'm just outside your neighborhood. I'm on my way over, and I have to talk to you about something. And there's something I can't talk. I knew it was about me running for Senate because we'd had a little bit of I said, I'm not going to be talked out of running for Senate. If I decide to do it, I'm going to do it. And he said, well, I have to talk to you about something very important. I'm paraphrasing, of course. But I can't do it on the phone. What I have to tell you, I have to tell you in person. And I don't know about you guys, but you ever just get a funny feeling in your stomach and your gut, and you go, this doesn't sound right. And I
was CIA, Kari. That used to happen sometimes for sure. Yes. So, Kari, let me ask you this then. Do you know?
I recorded it because I thought maybe there was going to be a threat involved against my safety, and I recorded it, and then I never listened to it again until this week. And another little feeling said, you should listen to that again. And so I pulled that out. I found it. I tracked it down. And I was sitting at the dinner table with my husband and daughter, who's 20, and hit play while we were eating dinner. And all of our jaws dropped to the floor. We couldn't believe it. Was so much worse than I even remembered it. And my daughter, who's 20, who is so worried about her future and whether she'll be able to live the American dream, said, Mom, tell me this guy's no longer involved in politics. I said, well, he actually is. He runs the Arizona Republican Party. And she said, you have to do something about this, Mom. You can't just sit on that. And I really didn't think I was going to do anything, but my daughter and this generation and their future depends on us rooting people like this out.
Arizona Senate candidate Kari Lake called on state GOP's chair, Jeff DeWitt, to resign Tuesday after recording surfaced of the chair appearing to offer Lake money in exchange for not running for office. He's got to resign. We can't have somebody who is corrupt and compromised running the Republican Party, Lake told an NBC reporter at former President Trump's New Hampshire primary victory party. The recording, first reported by the Daily Mail, purports to capture DeWitt offering Lake money in exchange for her staying out of politics for 2 years. The authenticity of the recording cannot be verified by the Hill. There are very powerful people who want to keep you out, DeWitt reportedly told Lake in the recording, saying only that these figures are from the East. Just say, is there a number at which DeWitt begins before being cut off? I can be bought. That's what it's all about. That's what it's about, Lake retorted. You can take a pause for a couple of years, DeWitt continued. You can go right back to what you're doing. Lake said she would not accept $1 billion to leave the Senate race. Neither Lake, DeWitt, nor the Arizona GOP responded to requests for comments. DeWitt has served as a state party chair since January 2023, after working as a chief operating officer for Trump's 2016 and 2020 White House bids. Just wanted to give you this context before I go through the recording and analyze it and do my usual thing. I find it funny how news travels so fast, because this guy ended up resigning within the last 24 hours. So it's her call for him to resign, and the fallout from this recording actually was very effective. Money in politics is a cancer on democracy. It's a cancer on American society. This is one of the reasons why I absolutely adored Sanders's 2016-2020 presidential campaigns, because it brought attention to the fact that oftentimes you have these very powerful groups who use their financial influence to have some effect on public policy. You have the NRA giving Republicans money to block even the tiniest bit of gun control. You have fossil fuel companies giving politicians money to to block or be against environmental laws. I mean, if you even want to get into it, you have some foreign countries that give politicians money to support their interest over here. Not going to say which ones, because that's going to lead us down a whole other path. But it's multiple countries that do this. So I'm just keeping in mind that when you talk about Lake, a person who I have previously said is an election denier, a person who, I mean, you can even see the irony in her words. We can't have the party being run by someone who's corrupt. Yeah, that describes 90-something% of all American politicians. And it's I just, it's total irony. But the one thing you have to give her credit for, before we get any further into this, is that I believe this recording is actually, it's obviously Lake's voice, but also DeWitt's voice. And you can hear him offer up a number. Hey, maybe this million, that million. And she says, no amount, even $1 billion, can get me to not run for this office. And that is something I can respect from an objective standpoint, because many times people, when they're trying to be incentivized to do something, they receive some money and then they comply. Even though I will then say that part of the reason I think she's run, it's just my theory, you don't have to agree with me, but part of the reason I thought she was running this time is part of the never-ending grift of oh yeah, the 2022 governor election was stolen from me. I'm in court because I'm contesting these elections where there's absolutely no proof of voter fraud. Thanks for the coins, guys. So that was my theory, that she's already getting financially compensated to continue, running in these races where she just goes around and says that everything has been stolen and taken and rigged against her by the great state of Arizona that she wants to represent, supposedly. God, the corruption is just so flagrant, isn't it? Where you can have a state party chair or someone who's in a leadership position in a state tell a candidate, and even if this were just a random person, right? Okay, we want to narrow the field so that our chosen person can go. I'm going to tell you one thing. Lake's fundraising numbers are going to increase after this, because even as a person who's not a fan of hers at all, this makes her look good. Because she's telling, or rather exposing, a member of her own party, which makes her look like she's, above partisan politics. And also by rejecting the money that is being offered or proposed by DeWitt, she is also sounding as if someone who's incorruptible, who is pure, who is very much here to serve the people, even if I have my reasons behind believing she has an ulterior motive, but I digress. So this is definitely going to help her. And honestly, I think she might win the election this time around. That Ruben Gallego guy, I don't think he's gonna make it after this. I think she's gonna see a fundraising boost. I think some of the more kind of like independent voters who really don't pay attention to this stuff that much as far as like knowing what the issues are like, just going policy by policy, might look at this and say, hey, this person is standing for something, just from the optic standpoint. This should give her campaign a serious boost, because it's been in the headlines for a few days now, and also her call for him to resign was effective. He did step down. But if you want to get into the semantics of what was actually stated on her part, because I'm so, and one of the things I love about the version of the recording that I have is not only is it censored in terms of the portions that are using profanity, but also you have the quotations, because some of the audio is kind of hard to hear, at least on DeWitt's part. I really find it funny that when you just kind of like take some of the quotes of Lake in here, and she's like, I'm gonna be the biggest pain in their butts, and you can go back and tell them that, and I'm running, and I'm going to, they're gonna have to kill me to stop me. It's like, I'm gonna give you a harsh reality about most politicians, and this is just something that because like I'll say this before we even go, I don't support anyone committing any act of violence towards any person who runs for office or gives commentary about politics. So this includes Trump, this includes Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lake, Noam, Huckabee Sanders, whoever. And I don't support any violence directed toward any of these people. That's I said before, when we start doing that, we're basically turning into a banana republic. But you listen to her commentary where she says, they're going to have to kill me to stop me. And it's like, I know I'm going to like sound like I'm beating a dead horse for mentioning, but there was an idea back in 2016. Now, it got disproved when he actually took office, that if Trump as an outsider was able to get in office, he was going to be this very dynamic, never before seen type of president who implemented things that were previously not done by other ones, and who would possibly, he said draining the swamp, right? In actuality, he appointed a lot of Bush people to his cabinet, the various swamp members, Supreme Court nominees who were, regular old conservatives that you probably would have gotten under Pence or some other more right, traditionally right-leaning person. Really just nowhere near as outsider-like as he promoted himself to be during his campaign. And Lake has adopted much of the same rhetoric, but honestly, a Senator Lake, in the hypothetical that she wins against Gallego, or Gallagher, however you say his name, would really probably be as close to a normal conservative senator in today's era as possible. You would have her virtually against Biden on pretty much everything, like Josh Hawley, like, Rubio, for example. And you would also have her, just flagrantly supporting Trump, whether he wins in 2024 or doesn't. I don't think he will, but just hypothetical here. So the idea that she is being gone after or targeted in some specific way because she's going to uproot the system and change things and transform the Senate, or bring about some kind of big, huge difference in terms of who gets voted in or who doesn't. It's total ludicrousy. The only thing that might happen from her winning that Senate seat is the Democrats might lose their majority, which is already so razor thin that oftentimes they can't pass anything anyway. Let's not forget, if she wins, she's going to replace Sinema, who is tied with Manchin for blocking Biden's agenda the most out of the Democrats. So you're basically getting a more right-leaning politician who's going to keep up the same behaviors if she's able to go wave through the storm and actually win this race, which I do think she has a chance of winning. And it's just funny that she like actually promotes herself as this person to where, you know, they're gonna have to kill me to stop me. It's like that's a nice boast, but you're nothing. You're a regular standard Trump loving Republican, which is the majority of the party. They're not going to kill you. They're going to embrace you and fall in love. I mean, it's so funny watching people who have taken the most easiest route to getting some power in the GOP, which is you sit there, you praise Trump, you say he's, you know, if you're Ramaswamy, you say he's the best president of the 21st century. You agree with him on pretty much everything. And you run for some lower office, and while he's running for president, you endorse him, enthusiastically appear at his rally, just defend him on his 91 criminal charge, etc. And she's acting as if by taking this extremely normalized route of Trump bootlicking, she is somehow doing something that's so drastic and different as to have everyone attempting to stop her from getting this. No. What's happening is Arizona has had an influx of people from California who are more liberal leaning, because it's the state, neighboring states, and that is contributing to it being more of a battleground state than it's ever been before. This is not Goldwater or McCain's Arizona. This is a more purple leaning one that, Republicans can still win if they actually run and try and campaign on things that people like. But Lake really hasn't, as far as I can tell, done that. It's just been more election denier stuff. She tries to say that her opponent is this like rabid socialist, which is not true. Just the same old generic Red Scare type campaigning that like intermixed are mostly overinflated with election denier stuff. But yeah, right now, Lake is one of the most important candidates in the country, I would say, because what other candidate have you seen who, after they tape a private conversation with a state official of their own party, is able to get them to resign in 48 hours? And I have no doubt in my mind that if her campaign team is effective, they're going to be playing this story left and right. We're going to be hearing about this until November. She already added on some more. Oh, that was only half of it. There's actually an 11-minute recording. So this story just shows the corruption of our government. It shows that we really need to get money out of politics, which is why I, just despise the Supreme Court's ruling in Citizens United. And it also demonstrates that even the people that you don't really like, can't really stand, or no fan of, they can sometimes do principled things, even if you think there's an ulterior motive behind it. So I don't necessarily wish Lake luck in her Senate race, but I have gained some heightened level of respect for her for putting this out and for calling for DeWitt's resignation. It's not easy to go against members of your own party. Certainly if you're someone that wants to, stay within the in crowd, but I think this is going to be to her benefit in the long run.